This is probably the hardest broadcast I've done in a while. And I didn't even promote it till about 10 minutes beforehand because I was trying to get God to change my mind. I rescheduled my New Hope Bible Study broadcast last night, and the thought came to my mind as I was going through some of the things I was going through last night, do it last night, and God said no. So I kept the time and I rescheduled it. Because normally when I'm upset, I don't do my broadcasts. Just like if I'm upset, I don't go to church. But God told me how to do it better. This broadcast probably has the most listeners. This was the first one I created when I started this about 2 years ago. Wasn't my first blog talk. I done one years ago whenever I was still married, and but I forgot the password to it, and I ain't got the same email anymore, which I can't remember what email I used anyways. But I know I ain't got that same email anymore. I think I had NetZero back then. There ain't no way I can get a hold of it. But because it's been years since I had NetZero, so I couldn't get my password recovery. So I started this one about about 3 years ago in September, and but of all the broadcasts I've ever did, it's probably the hardest, and I kept just talking to God and trying to change as much as I could, because I don't something I really don't want to talk about. But maybe through my testimony I help somebody else. I call this a discussion today because somebody would like to call in, they can. That number is 805-292-0307. Especially if you've been through it yourself. But you know what? Any kind of abuse is bad. And I've told you a little bit on my Stolen Voices broadcast. And I talked a little bit on it last night on Open the Doors on the Examine Your Life broadcast. And I shared it on YouTube like I'm sharing this one as well. And on YouTube I call it Examine Your Life, Stolen Voices. But on the Blog Talk Radio it's just called Examine Your Life. But you know, throughout life, we're faced with many valleys, face many trials, and we'll face many decisions. And our weakest moments only make us stronger. And maybe by sharing this with you today, I can help somebody else along the way. All my life, I tried to live in the shadows and just kind of hide and not be seen until I started preaching. All the way through school, I didn't talk very much. Went to my high school union, and I just was talking their heads off, and it's like, this is quite a change, and he's a preacher now. This is quite a change. I don't remember you saying over 10 words. But you know what they didn't know was what I was dealing with. At home every night, I'd be going to church. I was saved when I was in the 4th grade. But I grew up in church. I don't know quite how old I was in 4th grade. What, maybe about 9, 10, 12, something like that. I don't know. But I always loved going to church. My mom quit going to church when I was 6 years old. But I loved going to church. So I went to church. Found somebody to go with. Never would invite no friends over to my house, because I wanted everybody to think that I lived in this perfect Ozzie and Harriet type family. Had a big basketball goal outside, and back then that was a pretty big thing. You know, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have stuff like that because it wasn't around. And every once in a while, friends would come over, but I wouldn't let them inside the house. Very seldom anybody ever get inside my house. Few did, but very seldom. Because I didn't want them to see the reality of how things were. Day in and day out, there was a lot of verbal abuse from my father. And I'm not close to my dad. I forgave him. I can be civil with him. But the closeness will never be there. Because he's one of them type of people who won't even let anybody. But he would constantly get in people's faces, yell, scream, cuss them, hit them, slap them, whatever. And so if you didn't take it, he wasn't a Christian. I dealt with that for years. Every day, got called names, got belittled, got told. I said I wanted to be a writer one day. Now I've been published over 400 times in poetry. I've not done that with my songs yet. I did give it to one group sung it. Sung one of my songs. I don't know if they're still together or not, but I did let one group sing my song. It's a local group because they loved it. They heard me sing it at church one night. But every night I would go into my room, shut the door, and just be silent, ball up and cry, and just lost my voice. Which is why I call this, a lot of times when I talk about it, stolen voices.